no matter how bad Monday Night Raw is, the show stealer has been Ruby Riott.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just going to keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. We are into episode number 47. Wow, time's flying, man. I was sitting back as we're getting ready to close out the new year. We're looking at it, it's like, wow, 47 episodes. So thank you, each and every one of you who has been tuning in. Some of you guys been listening to every episode, so for that, I appreciate it. I appreciate the support for the newer supporters, or if this is your first time listening, hoping that you will come back. Make sure you right now hit the subscribe button right on YouTube. And if you're on iTunes, hopefully you're not driving if you're doing this, drop a 5-star rating and a review. Same with Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean. So let's get right into it. This week, Monday Night Raw, we saw Ruby Riott put Natalya's dad on a table. So if you missed it, she had this big figure, or I should say, this big gift wrapped at the top of the ramp. We saw Natalya out there, and to be honest with you, I'm not saying discrediting with anything they were saying, but actions spoke louder than words. She told her at the end, when she revealed the surprise, it was a table, and it was a flattened image of Natalya's dad. It was like what you call those things? There's fan things that you paste on the wall. This was pasted on top of the table, and that was Natalya's dad. And she said, "I'm going to put you through there, and you can be close with him." And I'm like, wow. So a lot of people online saying this is disrespectful. She shouldn't be doing this. Natalya just lost her dad. Here's one thing you got to understand. This is entertainment, and it's the wrestling business. That's it. Some people may call cheap heat, which is an easy way to get people to hate you. But I have a hard time believing that Natalya would go ahead and say this is okay, and the WWE, would say this is not okay, and the WWE would do it anyway. We have to look at it like this. Natalya is one of the veterans in the business, one of the locker room leaders. You may say she came back too soon. She lost her dad right around SummerSlam. If you remember, a lot of the ladies were wearing pink as a tribute to him. He had a prominent role on Total Divas. I have a couple co-workers, shout out to the homie Ashley, who watches Total Divas faithfully. And she even knew who Natalya's dad was because he was on the show that much. I hope that he goes into the WWE Hall of Fame soon. Unfortunately, he will go in as a tag team member, or he'll probably go into Legacy when down the line. But nonetheless, I like the fact that they're doing this because you can relate to Natalya, and everybody in that arena wants to see Natalya wipe the floor with Ruby Riott. But I don't think that's going to happen. And I'll do a prediction show, don't worry. But I just don't think it's going to happen. Reason why, because Natalya's a veteran. Ruby Riott's the young up-and-comer. And because of that, you got to put her over. She is setting herself up to be next in line. I've said this time and time again, week in and week out. Ruby Riott is setting herself up to be next in line for the Raw Women's Champion. She has the ability to make you hate her. Ever since the Riott Squad joined the WWE, went to the main roster, you've been irritated with them. They come in, they disrupting things, and let's be real, they're not vixens. And of course, we know it's not about the looks with the women anymore, but you look at Lana, it's kind of hard to hate her because you still like the way she looks. You look at Sasha, You like the way she looks. But you got girls like Becky Lynch, Ruby Riott. You like the way they look. But let's be real, they're not the first ones you're choosing. And I'm making sure I choose my words carefully because I'm not disrespecting them. I'm not calling them ugly. I'm not pulling a Dave Meltzer. But at the end of the day, they are not trying to say, hey, look at me, I'm a baddie. You know, they're all about going out there, taking care of business, kicking butt in the ring. You don't see them posing when you see the little model pictures. You don't see that out of them. So, Ruby Riott is setting herself up to be next in line, and coming out after WrestleMania, I could see her taking on Ronda Rousey. Personally, if I'm booking, I have Nia Jax go over, and somehow maybe Ember Moon and Nia Jax trade the title or whatever, and then I'll get to Ember Moon and Ruby Riott. That's just foreshadowing. But moving on to SmackDown. So the main event, Asuka, Charlotte, women's, two women who are going to be in the championship match come Sunday, which is a match I would not be surprised if it closes the show. We saw them go at it, but here's the thing. Becky Lynch was sitting at ringside, and one of the things I liked about this match was they didn't distract you by having Becky on commentary. Because let's be real, Becky's a walking pipe bomb. Her Twitter fingers are trigger fingers. The difference is she can back it up, unlike a lot of the internet trolls. So when Becky goes out there, you're going to be paying attention to what she's saying. You're going to look at her, kind of hanging on every word. Maybe you could care less about what's going on in the ring. So I was glad that she sat to the side. So Becky Lynch is out there, Charlotte, Asuka, going at it. Incredible match. You know, I said this. This was my match of the night at WrestleMania. I'm putting it in my top 5 WrestleMania matches of all time. When I think of WrestleMania matches, I mean just off the top of my head, Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker 1. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker 2. I put this match up there. Hogan and Andre. Maybe not the best technical sound. Brett and Shawn. You know. But Asuka and Charlotte belongs in the top 10, top 5 matches. To me, I go back and forth between 2 and 3. Shawn Michaels, Undertaker 2. Asuka, Ricky and Macho Man, Asuka and Charlotte. I mean, that's how good. That's where I hold that match in regard. But of course, we wasn't gonna get that match. We never really get those type of matches on SmackDown. Meaning, you're going to get, if you had the 5-star match, you'll get a great match. You'll get a 5-star match on SmackDown usually. But if it was a 5-star match before, I'm usually not expecting to be another 5-star. And we didn't get that. Instead, right towards the end, which I love this new demeanor from Charlotte, when her opponent's getting the best of her, what does she do? She beats the smack out of her with a kendo stick. And we're going to see this things get really brutal at TLC. Again, I would not be surprised if this closes the show. So, let's take a quick break before I come back and talk about the men.
What is up, people? This is Sean Williams, host of Variety Bites and The Shark Attack, and you are listening to Break It Down with my good friend, Mr. Wrestling Knowledge himself, Mr. Main Event, Brian H. Waters, right here on Podbean.
All right, I'm back. That was my boy, the Shark himself, Sean Williams. Make sure you check out his podcast each and every week on Podbean. Shark has great opinions. I always love hearing what he has to say. I talk to him pretty much every day about wrestling. If I miss some things, or sometimes I might see it a different way. He would say, well, why don't you look at it from this perspective. Also, check out his Facebook group, The Shark Attack. And he's in the Wrestling Wrealm Facebook, so you can definitely link up with him there. So, Daniel Bryan, the new Daniel Bryan, the WWE champion. He will take on AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, this Sunday at TLC. But before we get there, we saw him take on Mustafa Ali. Now, I'm going to wait till I have the real Dwayne Allen side by side, because usually sometimes I might tell you his ideas or his thoughts about somebody. I was like, I was talking to the realness about such and such. I'm not going to do that with Mustafa Ali. What I will say is I enjoyed the match. I really like Daniel Bryan in the beginning of the show talking to Ali, and he said, we don't have to fight. This people are not basically saying this ain't gonna be relevant down the line. And then he said, Mustafa Ali told him, and I love the fact that he had got a little mic time, and he basically said, "That's not the Daniel Bryan I know. Daniel Bryan I know like to fight." And then he said, "What kind of car do you drive?" "I drive an SUV." And he just kept going in on him, basically saying like, "No, that's stupid." He just smacked him like, you got two kids, you're a little man. Just smacked him and smacked him. You're ignorant. Bam. Ignorant. Bam. Oh, man. This guy, like I said, the new Daniel Bryan is on fire, hitting on all cylinders, if you ask me. Of course, I'm a huge fan. And nothing is stopping me from being a Daniel Bryan fan. Just because he's a heel doesn't say, I'm not a fan of his anymore. I'm still a fan because I enjoy what he does. And guess what? At the end of the day, my guy is the WWE champion. Speaking of champions, what is going on with the Universal title? Do they even care about it anymore? I just don't know, man. I know that this Sunday we have Braun Strowman taking on Constable / interim or acting GM Baron Corbin, who was in an Intercontinental title match this past weekend for what I don't know, but this past Monday. But yeah, we have that match going on, and that's if Braun Strowman can compete, and if he can't, then Baron Corbin will automatically become the general manager of Raw. Now, with the ratings the way they are, and reaching an all-time low, I don't know if they want to do that. But, I just hope that they can get back to the point where they can actually mention the title. It's like, okay, Brock Lesnar has it. I could see before it was like, all right, that's our goal. We want the title. Let's fight for it. And then we'll deal with Brock when he gets here. But until then, we're going to fight amongst ourselves to make sure I secure my spot as the number one contender. That's the thing I'm not really seeing. But speaking of Baron Corbin, mentioned earlier, he was in the match, Intercontinental Championship. He took on Seth Rollins. Now, during this match, he had a special guest referee, Heath Slater, who's the referee in a match earlier between Lio Rush and Elias. Now, Bobby Lashley assured that Lio Rush got that win because he wouldn't let Heath Slater disqualify Lio Rush after Lashley interfered. And Heath Slater's looking like, man, I need this job. I got kids, man. So he gets involved in this match as Rollins and Corbin are battling for the Intercontinental Championship in a TLC match on Monday Night Raw. Why they doing this? Why they even doing that to Seth Rollins' body before the show? I have no idea. But as he's climbing the ladder, rung by rung by rung, all of a sudden he has the title in his hand, and Heath Slater grabs it and it's like, uh-oh. And he pushed Rollins off. And you would think, okay, Baron Corbin's going to get up there. Of course, you're thinking, oh, boy. But Corbin couldn't get up there in time. Rollins would get up, knock him down, and then he would, kind of knock down Heath Slater. So you could see Slater was conflicted because even when Rollins, he asked for mercy, but he didn't, own up to it. It was just like, man, look, man to man, I got kids. I got to do what I can. Baron Corbin's the guy right now. He's the one in charge, so I'm just trying to stay on his good side. either way, that fell flat. Staying with Monday Night Raw, we got new tag team champs, folks. I don't know if you know, as bad as the show's been, and I hate to be that guy. I thought it was funny because somebody found a clip of Michael Cole quoting Seth Rollins, because Rollins said in the earlier promo that Raw has sucked, and they took the clip and put it on Twitter, and they said Raw has sucked, and it's just Michael Cole said Raw has sucked, Raw has sucked, Raw has sucked. And I was like, wow. But yeah, we got new tag team champions. Chad Gable and Bobby Roode defeated AOP. It was a 3-on-2 match or 2-on-3 match. So, congratulations to them. Unfortunately, like I said, it fell under the radar. I kind of would have rather seen this on TLC, only because I feel like more people would have saw it. And you usually don't say that about pay-per-views. Like Triple H mentioned when he won the WWE Championship on Raw instead of on SummerSlam 99, which most people felt he should have won. He said, more people saw it, I guess. So that was just different. It's like, man, all right, whatever. But yeah, congratulations to them. Moving on, SmackDown's tag division, we saw a rap battle. We saw New Day host a rap battle between the Usos and The Bar. Now, The Bar was out there dressed like vanilla. They were you could see their European accents, and they were really trying to be super cool. And the Usos, not that they're great rappers, but, of course they owned them. But SmackDown tag team division is lit. There was a time when the tag divisions in the WWE just wasn't fun to watch at all. But, the Usos leading the charge are legends. But it's not one of those things where they're ahead of the game and everybody's behind them. No, you got The Bar right there. A team that I was not a fan of because I wanted to see Cesaro grab the brass ring, but we all know he's probably not going to ever. Vince McMahon won't see him that way. Wasn't a big fan of Sheamus. And then we have the New Day, who's been, legends. They might headline a Hall of Fame one year, or they may be, in there. They're going to all be in there together. Let's be real. And shout out to Glenn Thomas. Actually, man, how could I be so rude? Want to offer, pay my respects to the late great Dynamite Kid who passed away since we last recorded. And I was listening to Glenn and Corey, and if anything, and I'm waiting, I bet you, as Glenn is probably listening to this right now, he's probably getting ready to tweet what I'm about to say. I like to call Glenn the anti-Hall of Famer. A lot of your favorites, he will say, I don't think they're a Hall of Famer. Back in the day of the Wrestling Summit, he said he did not believe, go ahead and tweet him. Blow up his mentions right now. Get ready. At gfather725. He said that he did not believe Owen Hart was a Hall of Famer. On this episode of the Wrestling Marks of Excellence, he said that the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, was not a Hall of Famer without his cousin, the Dynamite Kid. He said that they will have to go in together. And, my brother Corey, he went back and forth. Not going to give away their show because you got to go listen to it, which you can find on iTunes and on FoxSports1340am.com. But he was going back and forth, and he said that, he's like, British Bulldog isn't a Hall of Famer. And I'm like, what? Now, Glenn and I had this conversation offline, and, we exchanged information, and, as always, great conversation. But I was confused and puzzled. Like, what do you mean he's not a Hall of Famer? To me, the Davey Boy, and this is my way of kind of, inserting my 2 cents. Corey said a lot of what I'm about to say was, first European champion, Intercontinental champion, shut down Wembley Stadium with Bret the Hitman Hart winning the Intercontinental Championship in the main event of SummerSlam 92. On my way to 30 years old, actually, was it 30? I think so. I did, on one of the birthdays, I wrote out, like, my top matches. I did, like, countdown. It might have been 25. That's on the list. My favorite SummerSlam match of all time. For me, it is a tradition. Certain things I do before certain things. Before Christmas, I watch Home Alone every year. Before WrestleMania, I watch The Rock and Cena at WrestleMania 28 because, one, I have the plaque on my wall. It's my favorite. It's the first WrestleMania I attended. It's the first WrestleMania main event, and I don't care what y'all say. The match was great. WrestleMania 9, I watched some portion of that show. It's the first WrestleMania my parents ordered for me. It's one of my favorite WrestleManias. I know a lot of you hate it. That's your problem. Before SummerSlam, I watched Bret versus Davey Boy Smith. So, and then you look back at the British Bulldogs 1995 run. So these are just things I know just kind of went off topic, but guess what? It's my show, and that's what I do. I talk wrestling. That's the reason why I set this up, and that's the reason why I'm 47 traditional episodes in with quite a few preview shows, so I'm probably over 50 somewhere. But yeah, Davey Boy Smith Glenn is a Hall of Famer by himself. Now, unfortunately, the Dynamite Kid may go in the Legacy Hall of Fame. I would hate to see that just because that's just kind of a mention. But I guess at the same time, what kind of stories do you really tell by himself? Who inducts him? Who accepts? So, and I think with this generation, and as Corey was saying, you got to spread these people out. Now, the rumors are that the great one, The Rock, is going in this year. Wow. And that makes you wonder, is it over? Pretty sure it's not. I think you can still put him in. I always felt that, but I heard there was rumors about returning to Miami. So I always felt that if they did that, they would put The Rock in when they go to Miami. Just a thought. So, but that's my Hall of Fame tangent. Like I said, we will see the New Day, the Usos, and both members of the Bar in the WWE Hall of Fame. So, moving on. We saw Bayley defeat Alicia Fox. Apollo Crews came down there to assist. He's her new tag partner. I'm going to talk about it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. If you watch Raw, you saw him toss Sasha into the into gender. Then you know what I'm thinking about. And I'll just leave it at that. It's just, man, I knew the internet was going to pick that up. And I'm like, oh my goodness, hope there's no repercussions. Most importantly, I hope it's an accident. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap this show up. So, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast each and every week. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and screenshot it. Tweet me at Brian H. Waters and at Wrealm. Make sure you check out this past week's Wrestling for the Culture. A lot of things on there. Things that jump right off the mind. Ariella Nix making her debut at another wrestling promotion. Private Party winning the Tag Team Championship. Willie Mack and Shane Strickland becoming, closing down the house at House of Hardcore. So, a lot of great things going on with the professional wrestlers of color. So make sure you check that out. Until the next time, folks, I'm Brian H. Waters. So long, everybody.